But if you're here this evening, it just shows that you take into, you take your personal economy, take it into priority. And I would love to actually say that I'm proud of that. So thank you once again for joining in. And yeah, as you can even see, if you go to the participants right now, you will see that our guest is actually here. It was very, very right on time. Thank you so much, sir, for the honor, and we really appreciate that. So yeah, not to take much of your time, I'll just go right into it to introduce our guest just by reading out his profile. So yeah, if you have seen the flyer, also you'd have seen his name, but then we start with his name also, and his name is Babatunde AKIN-MOSES. Sorry, please just confirm if you can still hear me
I think
before
we
I
can
go
hear
on.
you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You said you think. Can you really hear?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So right now I will just specially still welcome you all again to this room, and I'll let my boss do the honors of introducing our guests. Right. They have a very good rapport, and we'll be able to go through all of that perfectly well. Thank you so much. So let's welcome Mr. Jeffrey, co-founder of Abode. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here once again at this August edition of FIW. And FIW means Financial Intelligence Webinar. And like we've been having it since I think December 2022, because at Abode we are interested not just in providing opportunities, but much more providing education, because there's a great level of education that an individual will have before he will begin to get exposed to opportunities. So one major harm of what we do here at Abode is, creating opportunities for people to, become financially free. And when we started the company, we had the mentality that if we want to really create prosperity for the citizens of Africa, because that is our mission, that's our vision. The vision for our board is to create prosperity for Africans. That's our vision. And it's so big, that it can be scary. And that's why it's our vision. So, and when we're exploring the possibilities of how can this vision come into realization, the question that we first ask ourselves is that what exactly does prosperity mean to us? Prosperity can mean different things to different people. And we came to the conclusion that prosperity for us is a high standard of living and a high quality of life. Say it again, a high standard of living and a high quality of life. So if one is not balanced on both sides, we will not really say the person has achieved prosperity, or we will not say Africa has come into the full measure of prosperity. So for us, the second aspect, the first aspect is a quantitative, determinant, having higher income, having, an active income, passive income, portfolio income, having capacity and all those things. The second one is much more qualitative, is not numerical. And for it not to be numerical, it's a thing of the mind. Because you can be rich financially, or you can have wealth, and if you lack knowledge, there's a great degree to how far you can go. So it's not just about the standard of living, having a high standard of living, or even having, some people have high cost of living, which they think that is high standard of living. So you are earning 150K, 300K, you use Uber to work, you chill and it's fine. you know that you're spending. So in your mind, because you only use Uber, you don't enter bus or something. So there's a mindset that you have a high standard of living. But where prosperity is for us at Abode is a balance of both standard of living and quality of life. And the quality of life is expressed by knowledge. By knowledge. So while we have, the opportunity part of Abode, we do not also joke with the education part of Abode. That is information, providing information. And I'm so glad that I'm beginning to see the fruits of this information. People beginning to take initiatives, not just with Abode, even independently. At the last event that we had, the last product showcase that we had here at AKIN-MOSES, somebody came to me, I say from the last class that, he has one of his uncle has traveled abroad, the house is just laying fallow, he wants to turn it to a short-let apartment, and we spoke, and the guy is excited, he's going to do that, and I'm excited too. From there, I saw some people beginning to, I shared the story of my friend who was doing 3K, 7K, 5K, and gathered 500K in 3 months and bought a property. Then after 9 months, we sold that same property for 1.5 million. And from after that event, I have 2 people, that decided to even come on a boat. 3,000. There's a lady that does not sell more than 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, and now she has bought an asset, and she's going to start earning from it. So we are doing this education not as a sales strategy. No, we have our sales strategy that is different, from this different strategy which we do, and God has been helping us for that. But we are much more. The vision of Abode is not for Abode to make sales. The vision of Abode is for Africa to become a prosperous continent. And the prosperity is described both in standard of living, having higher income, and having, a high quality, of life. So that is the broad view of what we're trying to, do in Abode. And that's why every single month we have financial intelligence webinar. And as you can notice, today is the first time that we're doing a financial intelligence webinar on a Sunday like this. So you have to bear with us. I know that more people are going to join, people from the community. And, we're going to have an interesting conversation today. This is the first time that we're bringing an external person. It's always myself, Mr. Damilari, I've been taking it back to back to back to back. But we thought it wise that it's time for us to begin to bring in people who we even personally learn from, to come and also share, with the community. And it's my great pleasure, to have, my brother in the house. I learned a lot from him, especially when he does his Uncle Tunde post on Instagram, and so complex macroeconomic realities or situations. He's able to break it, for the layman. And even me having my first degree in economics, there are many economic principles that I don't even know that impacts me, and from his post on Instagram, I'm able to learn a lot of things. And not just that, I've had the opportunity of close proximity, by God's grace, and there are silent insights, advice that he gives. He might not have given it, verbatim, but I've picked it from, some of the things that he's doing, and I'm implementing it, right now. It has been a great blessing, for me as a person. So it's my great pleasure, to have him on board. He's the CEO of Sycamore, Olamide, to help me read, his profile while, we're having on board. He's just going to share from his wealth of experience with us. Then after which we'll go to Q&A session. Then we'll do some announcement and we'll close. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next voice you hear, I don't know if Olamide is still here. She just quickly let me read his profile. I know when he sent his profile, I was surprised. His profile was very short. I know that his profile is bigger than that. But it's very short. I don't know. I don't think Olamide is, is with me here. So probably I can just, get it in from my own phone so I can read it out here. Okay, so Babatunde AKIN-MOSES is currently the CEO of Sycamore, a peer-to-peer lending platform which connects lenders to borrowers and currently serve over 60,000 customers in Nigeria. They serve over 60,000 customers in Nigeria at the moment. So prior to starting Sycamore, he worked in Shell and spent close to a decade in consulting, working at KPMG and PwC. He also worked in strategy at Pensesha, a P2P lending fintech in Nairobi, Kenya. Babatunde earned his first degrees in economics, graduating with a first class, from Bowen University, and has an MBA from Lagos Business School, Nigeria, and IESE Business School in Spain. That's MBA from both institutions. Is also a chartered accountant. He loves to write about business, economy, policy, startup, inspiration, and entertainment. He's also deeply passionate about making Nigeria and Africa as a whole a much better place to thrive and prosper for all. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, virtual round of applause, please make welcome, Babatunde AKIN-MOSES.
Hello, good evening. Sorry, just trying something. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm just putting on my video. How are we doing? Thank you very much, Jeff, for having me. Thank you to the Abode team. Thank you, everyone. 25 people. Wow, that's a lot for a Sunday evening. Where when I'm sure everybody wants to be relaxing, watching ball or something. And you've made our time to be here, so I'm very grateful and I'm quite honored. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Abiola. Thank you, Amaris. Thank you, Akiomi. Thank you, Jumoke. All right, so again, that's confirmed. You can hear me. Okay, so we're talking about taking charge of your personal economy, right? Taking charge of your personal economy. So I think the first thing I think is to sort of maybe try to clarify what that personal economy means, right? I think that's the very first step. So if we try to make the session as interactive as possible, so I don't know if there's anybody that can just share, even if you don't want to talk, you can share in the chat group, right? What a personal economy means to you, right? What does a personal economy mean to you? Just in one sentence. Again, this is not an exam, it's not a test. So there will be no marks, there's no CGPA. Personal finance, that's good. Thank you, Lizzie. Makes sense. That's a very good way to summarize it, yes. Any other takers? How you manage your money? Yes, also agreed. Yes. How you manage your money? Good. Maybe one more take before we then go ahead. Any other takers? We have two answers right now. Lizzie has said personal finances, how you manage your money, and we're looking for one more answer before we proceed. It's like we're shy. The effective management of your finances. Thank you, Amaris. Okay, that's very good. There's really no answer, or there's no definite answer, but I think everybody has a little bit of the idea, right? I think the best way to look at it, anytime I have words that I like to define, just like the way I do, I like to simplify it, right? So personal and economy. So everybody understands what the word personal means. That describes what relates to you as an individual, right? An economy is really a more complicated, well, maybe not complicated. In this context, it's not so complicated. But if we are looking at economy as a whole, typically we would be talking about, we'll be talking about both income, both expenses, and if you look at it from a country perspective, right? There are many ways you measure how well an economy is doing. You check how much money they are making, and whether that's sustainable. You're checking how the country is spending its money. You are checking how much debt the country has. And again, for those of us following Nigerian affairs, you would have seen many people talking about, our debt is sustainable, it's not sustainable. They are also looking at, other terms, other things that indicate the health of the organization, right? You start hearing anything about debt to income ratio. We'll talk about some of those things later. And other terms, people for the country use exchange rates, you use inflation and all of that stuff. That doesn't apply to us as individuals, right? So as we've all said, you're checking things about income, you're checking things about expenses, and then things that relate to both income and expenses, like how we manage our debt, how we manage our assets and our liabilities, and the likes. So something again that is very important that we clarify about. I like the answers that we've given. I like the personal finance, management of money, effective management of finances. There's something I just want to also hammer on very, very importantly. When you're talking about personal economy, right? I think a lot of time, and I like the fact that the Abode team use personal economy, because sometimes people focus on the expense side of finances a lot. When people are telling you, manage your money, what are you spending on? Save. So that aspect of focusing on your personal economy is focused on how to retain value for the one you have. I don't think there's been enough attention given to the income side of the personal economy, right? So it's how do we make money? How do we make money? And there are a lot of ways to make money, right? As an individual, there are different ways to make money. So we'll also be talking about some of that as we go along. So the most important part of the first segment is, okay, we've talked about the definition, right? We talked about personal economy, and we talked about the fact that it's just as important as income, expenses, and then our assets and our liabilities. So our assets and liabilities. So what is assets? Assets is anything that continues to give you value from now and into the future, right? Something that gives value beyond 12 calendar months. That's the accounting definition, by the way. So if something is giving you value in the future, if it's less than 1 year, they call it the current assets. Cash is the current asset because you can spend it tomorrow. But if it's something that is going to give you value beyond 1 calendar year, they call it it's a fixed asset, right? Or a long-term asset. So if you want to get more technical, property, plant, and equipment, again, that is accounting stuff. But those are long-term assets. So you can use your, for example, if you have, I'm going to do a Q&A later, so I don't give all the answers now. But if you have anything that continues to give you value beyond 1 calendar year, then that is more of a long-term and non-current assets. And liability is anything that takes away value from you as you go along, right? And value doesn't necessarily mean not in all instances, but it's not always just cash, right? But cash is an easy way to measure it, right? So a liability, a very good example of a liability is a loan, for example. So you take a loan today, you are paying it off gradually. So you are giving out value over time, right? So you have, and that is essentially those things that I mentioned, right? What those are the core of what makes up the financial statements of any country, any company, and even an individual, right? A lot of us don't look at ourselves as having all those things. You have income, you have expenses, you have assets, you have liabilities. And when if you have those four things as an individual, you should always be thinking about those four things, right? A lot of people are thinking only about the expense side. Oh, let me manage my money. Let me not spend on suya. Let me not spend on drinks. Let me not dash people my money anyhow. And that's, you're only looking at the expense, right? But you should always be thinking about your income, your expense, your assets, your liability. Assets, what's going to bring you value in the future? Your liability is what's going to take away value from you in the future. Now, the last thing about the last financial component that you should be thinking about is equity. Equity is, mathematically speaking, right? Equity is assets minus liabilities. That's the easiest way to look at it. Equity is assets minus liability. Now, in very strict sense, right? Equity is the part of it that is your own, right? Is the part of it that is your own. So if you have a house, for example, that is valued for 1 million naira, for example, today's market price, and you are paying down a loan of 800K. The part of that house that is for you is your asset minus liability, right? So that's the value of equity you actually own in that house is 200K. If your asset is 1 million naira, your liability is 800K. The value of your equity is 800K. Equity also manifests in different ways. Equity is also like buying shares in a company. And this is very important, right? Because equity is actually what makes you, equity stake in companies is actually what makes people rich a lot of times, right? Let me explain what I mean. If you look at any list of maybe wealthiest people in the world, right? Let's even start from Nigeria, Dangote. When you see Dangote is worth $10 billion, for example, that's just an example, a sample figure. They are not usually measuring how much he has in cash, right? That's not what they are measuring. They are typically measuring the idea of the amount, the value of the shares in his companies, right? They're usually measuring the value of shares in his company. I don't know if everybody's still following, if I've said too much already. I'm still coming back to this. I just wanted to set the tone for some of the things that we'll still be looking at. If I don't explain some of these things, some things we'll say later might not make sense. So are you guys still with me? Okay, yeah, great. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Maris. All right, great. Thank you, Lizzie. All right, so on that backdrop, let me just share. I want to quickly share just a small Q&A. Okay, host. Okay, I can't share my screen. I don't know if you can help Jeff or Maris.
Okay.
Is that nothing too serious?
I think I'll try now.
Okay, let me try. Give me a second. Hold on, please. Okay, I think I can now. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Again, this is just a basic question. So let us just start discussing some of these things over time. All right. So which of these appreciates in value over time? A phone, a car, owned house, the house that you own, human hair, maybe Brazilian or Peruvian wig, I don't know. None of the above. What do you guys think? You can put the house, you can put the answer in the C. Okay. C. Owned house, okay. C. Everybody's saying C. Can anybody share why they are saying C? Your phone doesn't appreciate over time. Okay, I can see. Does anybody want to share? It's an appreciating asset. Amaris, you have to explain now. You can't just tell me it's an appreciating asset. Does anybody want to speak? Okay, I'm still shy. Okay, everybody knows the answer. So this phone does not appreciate. Okay, it's fine. That's what we're taught based on experience. Lauren taught by, see, that's what you're taught based on experience. Yes, the house does appreciate. That's simple, right? And that just goes. I'm just using that to stress the point I was making about assets over time. The fact that it appreciates over time. Sorry, quickly, Jeff, please, how long do we have?
Okay, the total time for your presentation is 30 minutes. Then we'll take question and answer.
Okay. All right. So I'm ready. All right. So I've already set the tone. I will just talk on some. I'll just talk on some points. So thank you guys for your contribution. So as you've seen, a house, appreciates over time, right? And it's not like the other things are not assets, but they don't necessarily appreciate over time. So some things, just a few pointers, and anybody that's taking notes would want to, you can take notes around this time, right? So in terms of planning our finances, right, or our personal economy rather, because it's more than just finances, right? You can think of a few pointers. So the first is like everything, right? You want to start with your financial goals. So what are your, or should I say your economic goals in quotes? So what are your goals? Now that's a very deep question that sort of changes over time. And there are goals for every period, right? So when I say goals, there are goals for what are your goals for the month, for the quarter, for the year, and then it was your very, very long-term goal. Now, if your goal is to be very, very comfortable, or to have certain things at a certain time in your life, you can then start to think about what that means for you from an income and expense perspective. What do I mean? The way people make money, if you are earning a salary, is different from making money, if you want to go into business, right? Now, business is not, I don't want to, I'm being careful not to say, oh, you can't be rich if you don't do a business, or you can't make it if you're not a business person. That's not entirely true, right? It's just that if you are looking for that kind of supersized wealth, that kind of very, very big wealth, Tony Lumelu, Dangote, $10 kind of wealth, then eventually you might consider going into business. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go into business now. I don't think that's not what it means. But in the long term, you have to go into business. And what that means is it starts to tell you how you're supposed to educate yourself right now for today, how you're supposed to start thinking about very long term in the future. But in all situations, right, you want to really, as much as possible, you want to really start working first, because you can also be quite wealthy on a very good job, and most people will actually start from somewhere. So I mentioned Tunelumelu now. Tunelumelu started as a banker, right? He was a staff somewhere. Eventually, he did his own business, and so many other people. There are a lot of things to learn. So you want to really start to equip yourself and educate yourself, because that is also part of personal economy, educating yourself on the path you want to follow. Obviously, business comes with risk, and that's something that you have to sort of educate yourself about. But it's also good to just understand that maybe eventually 5 years, 10 years down the line, you might want to do a business. So you want to start learning about, the language of business and how a business runs and all of that. But there's nothing wrong with starting a good income. There are many people on salary, young people less than 25, making a salary 2 million, 3 million naira a month, depending on where you work, right? And that's good enough to start to plan to, either buy assets or, plan your life accordingly. So goal setting is, virtually one of the first steps in terms of thinking about your personal economy. And obviously, the part that a lot of people focus about is really about budgeting, right? And budgeting is also another very important part of personal economy. At the beginning of every month, everybody really wants to have something you set aside, or how you plan to spend your money. That's really what a budget is: how you plan to spend money and how you plan to make money too. So if you're on a salary, it's more predictable, right? Your salary of 200K a month, is how you're going to spend it. This is what you happen. This is how much you save. This is how much you use for lao. This is how much you do blah blah blah. But having that plan is sort of paramount, right? Very important. So the next after we've done financial goal setting, short term, long term, coming into budgeting, there's also the part of saving an emergency fund. Now, it's very important that you save periodically, no matter how much it is, put something aside. I know some people would say that, you're not making enough. But the truth is, if you're earning 50K and you're not saving 5K at the very minimum, even if you earn 5 million, you won't be able to save money. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's more of a thing about practice, right? It's more of a thing about practice. And one of the things that as a part of savings discipline, right? You also want to, as much as possible, you want to also have an emergency fund that you've saved aside. So what's emergency fund? Emergency fund is a pool of mere cash asset or cash that is like 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. That can mean like 3 to 6 months of your salary saved somewhere. Now, the reason for emergency funds, there are lots of reasons for emergency fund. Anything can happen, God forbid, right? But there are lots of reasons that you might need an emergency fund. That's just cash staying somewhere. Now, that's different from your savings, right? The emergency fund can actually even be in something that earns income. Maybe a fixed deposit or good shares or bonds or the likes, right? So that's about savings and emergency fund. Now, from the savings part of it, if you're starting with salary, the next step is you want to start thinking about the way I like to think about it for my own personal savings outside emergency fund. I like to save towards specific goals, specific things I want to do, so that I'm not just saving randomly, right? I can be saving towards an investment. I can be saving towards buying something, and I can be saving for specific things. So you're saving towards your rent, you're saving towards this particular phone, you're saving towards something. It's possible. You can also think about it like that. In that way, they are saving. You're also saving towards investment potentially, right? And obviously, as you start to earn more money or make more money, if you're a business person, you can start to then build up your wealth over time with more sophisticated investment instruments. I think this is also a very important place to talk about debt. debt management. So debt now, maybe I'm saying it as debt, but it's DEBT. Some people say it's debt, but the correct pronunciation is actually debt, right? And that's really borrowed funds. Now, borrowing is not bad. It's not something that you hear and say, God forbid, and God has said you will be a lender to nations, blah, 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 right? That can be used for productive activity. You don't want to borrow and go and eat in a restaurant, right? You probably don't want to do that, or go and borrow for something frivolous. You want to borrow for productive things that can add value. You borrow money to buy a house, fantastic. Or you borrow money from an investment, also fantastic. Obviously, if you are borrowing money for an investment, you want to do your math. So you, for example, what a lot of people in the US do, which is fantastic. It's not so easy to do in Nigeria, but if you can have, if you have the means to do it, why not? So this is what people do. People borrow money. For example, they borrow maybe 10 million naira, you buy a house, and you look at you look at the rents that the house can give you annually. Let's say you buy a house of 10 million, like I said, and you calculate that we are going to be paying back 2.5 million naira every month, every year for 4 years, right? That's how much to pay the loan. Let's discount interest and all those things. So 10 million naira loan, you buy a house, you're paying back 2.5 million naira every month for 4 years. Can pay that 2.5 million naira or even more. So if in a year you can earn 3 million naira from that house, but you're paying 2.5 million naira to the bank, wherever you borrow the money from, you are still in a net position of 500K every year, right? Again, this is a very simplified example. It's not always straightforward, but that is actually how to do it, right? You're paying the bank 2.5 million, the rent is giving you 3M. You walk away with 500K every year. It can be a lot more. It can be per month. It can be any period you want to use. But that is actually a very good way of managing debt, because it's not costing you anything. In fact, it's adding to you, right? So you want to try to borrow for those kind of productive purposes, or you're expanding your business. So same thing. You're selling something. If you buy a product, you take a loan to buy a product, you sell it, pay back the loan, you're still left with the profit. Fantastic use of debt, right? As much as possible. You want to limit, your consumption use of debt. Again, it can be used, but very carefully. It's not advised, especially if you're not an expert at managing debts. I think at this point, I will just throw up a very quick question again. Are we still? I guess we're still with me. I'll soon wrapping up.
Yeah, well, we do.
Okay, yeah. So this next one is, which of these is best to start a business with? Equity, debt, treasury bills, B and C, all of the above. What do you guys think? Any takers? Can see an A answer. Thank you, Ene. Any other takers?
There's someone in the chat room. Okay.
Yeah, I can see some answers. Yeah, answers are coming in. I can see A, I can see E, I can see D, I can see A, I can see A. Okay, we're having different answers this time. It's good. Can fight more. Why are you guys not converging on the answer now? I thought we were going to have a very robust debate at this point. Anyways, okay, if you said, okay, so let's take it from the, okay, no, and said A. Person said all of the above. Grace, do you want to share? Do you want to unmute your mic and share? What about A and C? Lauren Toba has also dropped a different mix. Grace, are you willing to share, your thoughts on that?
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, let me start from that, the one you just explained.
Okay.
You just said it. You could take a loan to start a business or to add to your capital, to roll it over, all of that. Equity. The value of share that you own, say, in another business, for instance, and you really want to start a business or you have your own business, you could sell your stock and use it to start your business.
Okay.
Treasury bills, I can't really remember, but what I remember with treasury bills is it used to be a platform where you can put money, like it's a government bond. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can
Right.
get your money from there and put into your business.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Grace. So just quick clarification. What I was actually explaining in my former point was about expanding your business, an existing business with debt. It's not impossible to use debt to start a business, but it's very, very tricky, especially for a small business. It's typically not advisable to try to use debt to start a business. Again, it's possible, but it's very, very difficult and typically is not advised. So it's very difficult. The equity I'm talking about here is, you can buy equity in another person's business, but you can also raise equity for your business, right? So equity, let me use this opportunity to differentiate equity in your business and debt in your business. So in your business, equity is the money that you are not obligated to pay back regardless of whether or not you have profits, right? In your business, for example, if you want to start a shoe factory, for example, you would go to maybe friends and family, right? And they'll give you money and say, look, you only pay us this money if you make profits. And if you don't make profits, then everybody would understand that you tried your best. Hopefully they believe in you enough to take that with a pinch of salt. But the reward for equity in your own business is profit, right? So if the business doesn't make a profit, the equity shareholder doesn't take anything. That's equity. Debt is a loan. You're supposed to pay back a loan, whether or not the business makes profits. The debt person that gave you the loan doesn't want to know whether it's successful or not. They just want their money back with interest or not, depending on the terms of the agreement. So typically, you want, as much as possible, you want to start a business with equity. But if you want to grow the business, debt is a good option. Maybe you run for 6 months, 1 year, and above, 2 years. You say, okay, now my business is steady. I can now go for debt. In fact, it's very difficult to get debt if you are not already running a business. From day one, one thing that debt holders look at is your existing cash flow. If you have no existing cash flow, it's not likely somebody is going to extend a loan to you, right? And this is part of what I do as a business too. When businesses ask us for loans, we check to make sure that the business is already generating income, so it's not a new business. So you're not likely to be able to get a facility from us if you've not run your business for at least 6 months, for example, right? Again, this is just discussed. Bills is a government instrument, and yeah, you can, if you have, it's not exactly it's an asset. It's close to cash. So depending on what form of money you use to invest in that treasury bill, it's not bad to use your income from treasury bills to start a business if it is your own, right? If those treasury bills are yours in the first place. Again, these questions are not designed for market script, just to enhance conversation as we go along. I think based on my time, I need to be wrapping up. There are some other areas that we can't really touch on. Again, I believe the demography of this session is mostly people, younger folks. So we can't go too much into estate planning and all of that, but there are some other aspects of personal economy that we also need to be wary about. Things like insurance. Insurance is very important. Insurance, health insurance, insurance against unforeseen circumstances. So those of us that are employed in, good organizations, probably they'll be paying for health insurance for us, right? And what that allows you to do is that you can go and get treatment from any of the listed hospitals without paying out of pocket. For those of us that run businesses, you can get insurance against, damage of goods, things like fire, theft. And what that means is that you're going to be paying what they call a premium. And with time, not just with time, once you're paying that premium to the insurance company, you will be refunded when there's an unforeseen circumstance. So it's a very good way of planning. Insurance is good. So pension too is also a very good part of personal economy management. Pension is basically you putting away money for your retirement. It looks very far, but you blink an eye and we're all 50 and 60 years old and you don't have anything to fall on if you don't have a pension waiting somewhere for you. Estate planning, will management, again, that is not within the scope of this particular session. But again, I'm sure it will be addressed in subsequent classes. So that is about personal economy. To just close, economy is the investment. One of the biggest investment you can make, right, is investment in yourself. You have to look at yourself as an asset that is giving value onto yourself now and in the future. And the only way you can do that is also educating yourself. So everybody here already is doing part of that because we're all here learning, right? We're learning from each other. We're learning from the engagement, from the interaction. But you also need to go a step further to go and learn about what's happening in the economy. What are the instruments that people are investing in? How can I key into some of these things? How can I be a better person? Even if you want to, even as an employee, right? There are books you read that teach you how to manage things like office politics, how to manage your boss, how to be better in your industry. If you're a technical person, maybe an engineer, you have to read every day to improve your craft, right? Because even if you want to, any path you want to follow, whether you want to stay an employee till you rise to MD or you want to go and start a business, being very good at your craft will always stand out for you. It will always be that differentiator. If they want to promote something or if you want to go to the market and do business, to be a product differentiator. So at every point in time, you need to be investing in yourself, how to improve yourself financially, how to improve your personal life, because the better you become as a person, the better you can manage your own personal economy. And that's where I'll stop for today. Thank you very much. I will now take more random questions and answers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tunde, for that wonderful presentation. I know that we gave you a very broad topic. Very broad topic, and it's very, very important that we begin to look at issues from a macro perspective. Most of the time, all the classes we have been having, we have been really talking about micro. So you're managing, budgeting, all those things, but try to move out to a more macro. Like for instance, we're going to talk about bigger things like estate planning and a lot of things, which a lot of us do not really take important these days. So thank you so much for that. We know that by God's grace, we'll be able to have you more often, another time, more often.
Yeah.
Break a few things. So guys, I don't know if you have questions. You can ask, put it in the chat box. If you want to unmute yourself, you can raise up your hand. However, I have like 6 speed questions, for you. So, okay. So let's see, guys. Okay.
I'm waiting for questions. I think what will happen is if we come for every single thing I touch, right, we can make them into individual sessions because everything can be taken apart. So maybe for future editions, we would we want to say, okay, let's focus on this one. And we start to talk about if we want to talk about just savings, we can spend 2 hours, right? We talk about tools, techniques. We can talk about investment for another 2 hours. We can talk about personal development. We can spend the whole day talk about books, podcasts, YouTube channels, how you should read, blah blah blah. Everything would take time. So it's good we started, like you said, from a macro broad perspective. So perhaps in other future editions, we can then start to narrow down, maybe based on even comments and questions, we can know, okay, this is what a lot of people want to learn about, and then we can, start to narrow and dive deeper. But yeah, I'll be happy to take questions.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so while we're waiting for questions, there are 2 comments in the chat room. Maybe I can convert it to look like questions. First from Abode, sure. She made a comment about, I think the closest to liquidity would be the most appropriate, because you were making an explanation of, close to liquid assets, like when you were talking about treasury bill in terms of emergency fund.
Yeah.
So I think throw more light into because a lot of us do not even,
right.
we like savings, investments, but emergency fund, we are Africans, God forbid, blood of Jesus and
yeah. So you're absolutely right. So for emergencies, thank you, Abiodun. And I saw your comment, right? I mean, I think there are 2 places that liquidity applies here. One is, like, Jeff was talking about emergency fund. The other one was, I think, when we're talking about, starting a business. For the emergency fund, right? Again, you want to deal with stuff as close to liquidity for your emergency fund. If your emergency fund is a property in Banana Island and you're happy that, the Banana Island is what your Banana Island house is worth 2 billion, and you're rich, you're happy. If you want to sell that house in Banana Island today, you might not get the cash today, because even if there's an interested buyer, the person that is in the process of selling a house and a land for that kind of price takes a while. There's going to be evaluations, there's going to be survey, they're going to write to city planning to verify this, verify that. So you're not going to be able to get the cash quickly. It can be used as a leverage to get a loan, which is cash, but that will also take time. So as much as possible, you want to keep it in things like fixed income, not fixed income, maybe a fixed deposit that you can liquidate without too much penalty. You want to keep it in a low interest yielding account, a savings plan, one of these investment platforms that allows you to withdraw immediately, or treasury bills, right? You can also liquidate treasury bills immediately. There are some investment instruments you can liquidate immediately. For example, if you buy a bond, I don't want to go into technicalities of a bond now. Typically, you're not supposed to be able to liquidate them immediately, but if you can sell it to someone else, and sometimes it won't pay you because the price might not be favorable. So for emergency funds, really, you want to keep it something close to as cash as possible, right? Which is treasury bills, savings in a savings platform somewhere, right? As much as possible. And for businesses, to start a business with near liquid assets, it is a bit tricky too, because you have to look at what's the source of that liquidity. If you get a loan, is liquid. The cash is liquid if they're paid into your account. That's not the kind of liquidity you should be using to start a business from scratch. Fantastic to grow a business, like I said, but to start, it may not be the best, because that's liquidity, right? So if it's liquidity that is from a source that would allow you breathe a bit, like I said, equity, family and friends, maybe liquidity from your own assets like treasury bills. But if it's liquidity from a loan, because it can be cash as well, it might put you under too much pressure at the time when you should be focusing on your business. So for starting a business, that liquidity, it depends on the source of liquidity. So yeah, that's that for that.
Okay, thank you so much. The second statement, okay, there's a question. How do you assess loan for businesses, taking your brand as a case study? Okay, maybe we should just take that. Then the last question, then I'll do my speed questions.
Okay, that's fine. So assessing loan it depends on what you're applying for and the kind of loan you need. If you need a 1 to 6 month loan, for example, for what we call working capital, maybe you just want to you want to use the loan to buy and sell something, and then you take the profit out and pay the capital back. You can come to places like Sycamore. That is, my fintech, right? Another similar fintech platform. It's very easy. You just need to, submit a valid ID card. You need 6 month bank statements. You need a proof of address, which can be, utility bill or address, a way of verifying your address. And that's it. Now, depending on the amount, right? You might or might not need a collateral, depending on the amount. But in any case, for business, you should have at least run the business for at least 6 months. At least 6 months. There's nobody that will give you a loan if you've not run a business for at least 6 months. And there's also something that they check, also two other things that they check that a lot of people don't consider so well. One is what you call your debt to income ratio. What's debt to income ratio? Every month, if your business or you as an individual makes 100,000 naira a month, those of us that are giving you a loan, we want to make sure that you are not paying more than, in most cases, 33%, which is 1/3. Now, the whole idea is that you still have money to sort of fend for yourself, because if we review your financial statements or your bank statements and we see that every month when you make your 100K, maybe there's somebody else that you have a loan with, and you are paying out maybe 50K every month, right? We're going to benchmark your monthly loan repayment to just 1/3 of that 50K that is left, because that's what you can actually afford to pay. So it reduces the amount of loan you can get, right? Because everybody is trying to make sure that you're not too strained, because if you are too strained, you're not going to be able to pay the lenders back. Now, the other parts, so that's debt to income ratio, very important. The other thing that a lot of people don't consider too is what you call your credit score. So there are credit bureaus in Nigeria. What do these guys do? If you take a loan from any licensed financial institution, they keep your records for that loan. If you not pay those guys back, nobody's going to give you a loan, because everybody's going to go and check, and it's going to be like, oh, Jeff, go and pay what you're owing. If you're not going to pay those guys, there's no need to give you. And it's not just even about paying them. If your loan repayment history with those guys was very bad, let's say you pay 1 month, you don't pay in the next 3 months or the next 4 months, and they are chasing you up and down, those records will show, and nobody's going to be willing to give you a loan. So beyond your bank statements, beyond your collateral, your credit history and your debt to income ratio, also very important for determining whether or not you can access a loan. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jeff is still...
Yeah, so final question from the chat. Somebody, it's not a question, so but I just want to reframe it to a question. I say, that's AKIN-MOSES Sunday. It says, see yourself as an asset, so invest in your development. When you were speaking, you mentioned that in the different kind of investment, and you strayed into investing in yourself. So, normally people are much more interested in real estate, different business and the rest. So do you want to say more like, how can I even invest in myself, and what does it mean?
Yeah. Fantastic, right? So investing in yourself is taking action or spending money that would increase your value in the marketplace. How do you increase your value in the marketplace? For example, if you are in my line, having professional qualifications already makes you more valuable in the market. If you work for one of the places I've worked before, say KPMG, PwC, for example, you can't go beyond a certain level if you're not a chartered accountant. Chartered accountant being a member of AKIN or a member of ACCA. For the financial advisory guys, it means getting a CFA. For some guys, it means getting an MBA. Even in some federal ministries, if you have a master's, they immediately move you to a certain level. So getting formal investing in yourself is getting certifications, right? Getting certifications, getting an additional degree, saving to go back to school if your job requires it. Now, it depends on where you are, right? It's just like a lawyer now. Becoming a SAN is going to make you more valuable. You can charge more. Same thing, accountant. Being a chartered accountant makes you be able to charge more. So that is investing in yourself. That's on the formal side. Getting education is one way to invest in yourself. Another way of investing in yourself is also, self-development, right? So read books, I really love books, and there are things that I'm trying to figure out. So for example, when we started this business, we're just three, we're just four. And now we're almost 100, right? Now the skills that I need to learn are different. So I'm reading a book right now. It's about how do you manage a big organization. Now I have HR, I have finance, I have procurement, and these are not things that I was doing 3 or 4 years ago when we were just four of us in my parlor, right? The skills I need now are different, and if I don't improve myself, my board can say, Baba, be going, as CEO, because I have investors too. So also learning the things that I need to learn to better my job. Again, it could also be something that you just need to do to improve. So for example, you're a salesperson, but you're not good at networking. There are many books on networking, right? They tell you when you go to a party, this is what you should do. When you go to a function, this is what you should do. When you come to a Zoom call, this is what you should do. Those are ways to improve yourself. Reading books, watch YouTube channels, ask questions, attend things like this. These are all investment in yourself. So I like the point Akin made, a very fantastic point. You're an asset, developing yourself. You should keep developing yourself, rather invest in yourself to increase your value. You're like land, right? But you don't increase your value over time if you're not investing in yourself, formal education and informal education through things that you need every day. Yeah, so that's very quick way to wrap that up.
Okay, thank you. Somebody's asking a very interesting question. Who verifies the credit history? Because abroad people have credit history and we are all aware. But in Nigeria, it looks like we don't even have any bureau that does credit history. And you mentioned it. Do people actually verify credit history in Nigeria?
Yeah, people verify it. So okay, so now in Nigeria, you can, you guys can write it down. I might send the links to, maybe I'll send it to Jeff if you can. There are 3 credit bureaus in Nigeria. Now, these credit bureaus, there's one called First Central, there's one called CRC, there's one called CRS. Now, what these guys do is, fintechs like us, anytime somebody asks for a loan, right, we have access, we've signed up to those platforms. We can go and check, right? And every month when you pay, let's say, if we check, we say, oh, I can't pronounce this your name. Uti Dotty. Okay, let me just say Uti. If you apply to us for a loan for 3 months and we give you 100K, every month when you pay, right, we'll go and say, let's say you're supposed to pay, let's say it's 90K loan, you're supposed to take 30K for every month for the 3 months. Anytime you pay that loan, we go back to those 3 credit bureaus, we tell them, Uti took a loan of 90K of month 1, he paid on time, no problem. If you didn't pay, we go and tell them it's late. Month 2, you paid on time. Month 3, you paid on time. Now, if you say, oh, Sycamore, you're tired of Sycamore doesn't have money, you want to go to GTB. You go to GTB, ask them for 1 million naira. GTB is going to go to these 3 platforms. You can go to those 3 platforms by yourself. I think all of them will allow you even check your own reports if you give them your BVN. I think depending on the how detailed you want the report is, it costs between 500 naira to 1.5 to check your credit report on any of those platforms, right? And you can check by yourself. Everybody's allowed to access their own credit report to see if you have any record of anybody you're owing. Now, if you go to GTB after taking a loan from Sycamore, GTB is going to go to those 3 platforms and it's going to say, let me see this person's record. Now, if they see the record and they say, oh, Uti paid 3 months loan, Uti paid on time, month 1, month 2, month 3. Uti is a good guy, let's give Uti this loan. Or lady, as the case may be, I'm not sure, pardon me. But if you didn't pay, that is also going to affect you negatively. And the response you're going to get is, guy or babe, you have a bad credit report. You didn't pay Sycamore. 2 things, we're not going to, depend on their risk appetite, they will say, oh, we're not going to give you because you didn't pay Sycamore well, or we're going to give you after you pay Sycamore, then come back and get it. So you can actually go and check. Again, I can give you guys links. Everybody can access their own credit report. And you can check anywhere. Some people that own Jackpot, if they want to get a loan abroad, sometimes they ask them to go and bring their credit reports in Nigeria. Is that serious, right? So it's something actually that everybody should know. And I will try to get, I'll try to send the links to Jeff and Mary so that you guys can go and check out yours.
Okay, so speed questions. I have 7.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is just going to be a normal question. So just to cool the nerves. So your platform, Sycamore,
Yeah.
you guys have over 60,000 customers. Wow, Nigeria has done me shaking today.
That's done it. Don't worry, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So
Go ahead.
over 60,000 customers. So the question, just don't give us too much information. Do Nigerians borrow that much? And what exactly is the purpose of most of the borrowing?
Okay, that's a good question. Nigerians borrow that much. That's why if you go to, I think, Fair Money has more than 10 million customers, and they are still not scratching the surface. So the Nigerians borrow a lot for deep instant loan. So they borrow for, a lot of Nigerians borrow for fuel, they borrow for, a lot of people borrow for consumption, which is not always correct. Sometimes it's needed because the emergencies and life happens. But a lot of people are borrowing for money to eat every day, money to buy fuel, money to buy gas. They are borrowing a lot for consumption. That's just short answer to that question.
Wow, that's actually very sad. Okay, so quick one. You can answer in like 30 seconds each or max 60 seconds so we don't take much time. Okay, so first question, when cash comes into your account, tell us how your mind works. Immediately cash comes into your account, what do you think about first?
Maybe cash comes to my account. I have an allocation for how much I save. I have an allocation for I have responsibilities, right? I have people that I pay every month. I have people that I have things that I do. But any money that I wasn't expecting, it goes straight into savings or investments. That's how it works. If not, I typically have a budget for the month that I just allocate that money. If it's planned for, I already have a budget for it. If it's not planned for, it goes straight to my savings.
Wow. So if it's not planned for, it goes straight to your savings. I think I need to upgrade. I need to upgrade my system. Okay. Yeah. Okay, next question. What's the best financial advice you have ever gotten or given?
Best financial advice, I think, is to keep investing in yourself, because you are more likely to be wealthy by increasing your income as opposed to saving what you make. By increasing your value over time, because you can't become $10 by saving. It's by how you can make income and how you can invest that income. That's how you become wealthy. So I always prioritize investment in myself, because it's when you know what to do that you can do it, and you can't do that if you don't invest in educating yourself.
Thank you. Okay, on the flip side, what's the worst financial advice you have ever gotten?
Well, man, there's a lot of bad financial advice. So I think for me personally, is when people mistake, some people mistake, I think, comfort for luxury. So take, for example, people say no, people say, don't pay rent because you are, you stay at home or something. Now it's good at it can be good, but where it's bad is if you stay in Ibadan and you get a job in Lagos, and because you don't want to pay rent, you're now entering 3 hours every day or 4 hours from Ibadan to Lagos. That can be foolish now. Now I'm using Ibadan as an extreme case scenario because some people are staying very far and they can afford it. They don't even have to, you don't have to move to VI. You can go to Keja, Yaba, whatever, right? And it's going to make you more effective at your job because you get to work maybe after an hour max, at least you're still refreshed. But you're trying to save everything and you're just inconvenienced. You're not buying good clothes. So there should be a healthy balance between, comfort and suffering with respect to manage your finances.
Okay, great. Okay, next question is, what's the biggest and, in quotes, shareable financial risk you have ever taken?
Biggest, man. Say that again. What's the biggest financial risk I've ever taken?
Yeah, that you can share in public.
Okay. I think about 2 years ago, since 2023. So yeah, no, that was post-COVID. I invested 8 figures into a company. Now, 8 figures is 10M and above, by the way. Into a company that I didn't do enough due diligence on, just because somebody I trusted told me it was good. Because I place a very high premium, on my friendships with people. So I consider you smart and a good person. I take what you say very seriously, and I did take this person very very seriously, and I didn't check too much. Once this person said, I said, no, this person, I trust them, and I went ahead, and that was a very bad call, because obviously they haven't gotten that money back. And I think what that really just taught me is the fact that I should be doing more due diligence, regardless of who gives me green lights.
Great. Okay, 2 more. What's the best non-financial advice you have ever gotten or given?
Best non-financial advice is me that I used to do advice every day. How would I know the best now? I don't know if this is the best, right? But I think that I think what I like to say is generally is anything you are doing, right? Always do your best, and if possible, do extra. So if everybody is trying to do 100%, you want to do 110 or 120%, you always want to go the extra mile, because your work, I always say that your work is like your work is your CV. So anywhere you are, even if somebody asks you to sweep a road here today, nobody's going to check how much you're paid to sweep that road. The person that comes there tomorrow will say, we swept this road, the person did a good job, and it always be there, right? Regardless of how much you were paid. So my something I live by, and I always try to also tell people is, look, anywhere you are, right, just do your best, and you always be fine. If you're a reliable person, money will always find you. I don't think you'll ever be broke.
Okay, thank you. The last one, and I think it's a little bit tricky.
Okay.
So what's one thing that you so believed in before, and then maybe an advice or an insight that you did for a long period of time, and you found additional information that it was not correct, and that you changed?
Change an advice that something I was doing for a long time, and I found I changed. I'm trying to think about it though. No, I just thought of one that is political now. I won't say it. So it came out these elections, but I don't want to say that one, because I know it's turned to obedience versus dates, I'm trying to see. I think that I wasn't very or it's not like I believed in it before, but it's become clearer over time, where I didn't used to think of how important, I didn't honestly know how important it was to work before you start business is. And I always said that I was going to go into business when I was in university. And I worked, right? But the reason why I worked before I started business was because I saw that's what my mentors did. But now I seek, and I wasn't sure whether to believe this, or salary is the bribe they give you to forget your future. That's not true. What I've seen now is, as the economy has expanded and more new jobs have come out in oil and gas and tech, you can actually be pretty comfortable from just doing a 9 to 5, right? And now I'm now a very big advocate in advising people that, look, please try and work for 5 to 10 years if you can before you even go into business. I always advise that now. I wouldn't say I didn't believe it before, or I was indifferent about it, but now I'm a big advocate for it.
Wow, thank you so much. Those questions were not planned, so but I think we got lots of insights from it. Thank you so much, Tunde, for this insight. So, guys, you can follow him on Instagram at AKIN-MOSES1. Trust me, you are going to, have an interesting time of learning. So you see a lot of macroeconomic issues, interest. Some of us don't even know how much inflation affects your income. So last year you were earning 250K, then they tell you that they've increased your income by 10%, and you are happy, you have added shawarma to your budget. You don't know how, the impact of that. And you feel that, my income is growing, you don't know, maybe you're even stagnant, or a lot of things. So you are going to, when you go on this platform, you are going to see how macroeconomic issues, affect you, down there. You are also going to learn a whole lot of things. I follow him and I learn from him a lot. So you can also go there if you are looking for opportunities to, lend money to people. Some of us, you will lend money to your friends and your family, and you'll be calling them and they will be laughing on your WhatsApp status without refunding your money. So if you want to securely loan money to people and get it back, you can even get interest on it. You can go to Sycamore .ng, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
You can download the app.
You can also download the app, on App Store and Play Store, and you can get a lot. That's not only what you can do. There are other things. So maybe I should just leave Tunde to just, in like another 60 seconds, just run us through the benefits this community can enjoy from coming on Sycamore.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So Sycamore is a peer-to-peer lending platform where we connect lenders to borrowers. I'm going to drop all my, quick deviation. I'm active across all social media platforms, right? I will drop all my social media platforms. You can follow me on all. If I've not accepted your request or anything, just mention that you're from this Abode session and I'll attend to you. Excuse me. Okay, so Sycamore is a peer-to-peer lending platform that connects lenders to borrowers. We do that through our mobile app. And honestly, I think, without saying too much, we have one of the most interesting lending platforms, or lending and borrowing platforms. So if you download our app, which is Sycamore, on all platforms, there are so many things you can do there. You can get a normal loan from us. You can invest money there. You can pay for your bills. And you can pay for your bills. And what he was talking about, we have a very interesting, unique feature where I believe we're the only ones in Nigeria that does that right now. It's called Loan Friends. And what Loan Friends allow you to do is you can either lend to a friend or borrow from a friend securely from the app, right? So you send them a request. Now, the good thing about it is it helps you to monitor all the loans you have outside. It sends reminders to all those your friends, and it will even help you debit them on the day it's due. So, for example, if I send 5K, let's say somebody asks me for money, I send 5K to them for 2 weeks. When it's 2 weeks time, to remind them, and on that due date, it's just debit them automatically. The new product we just added is called Pay for Me. Basically, if you want to pay a bill on behalf of your friend and the money comes back, so it's like Loan Friends, but it's different. Where if Jeff wants to pay for NEPA bill, maybe he doesn't have money, I'll pay it on his behalf, but it will be booked as a loan. So just imagine you're on an Uber today, maybe your whatever is not going through. You send a request to somebody, the person pays for you, but then it's booked as a loan so that the money comes back to you eventually. again, you can always check this out on our mobile app. We are very transparent, very open. Again, me, I'm very active online. And my offices are open. Our office in Ikeja GRA. But again, I'm quite, yeah, I'm busy, but I'm quite reachable. I might respond late, but I'll always respond. So if you have any issues, I'm also a customer service person for the company, as I encourage all my people to be. Sorry, I'm trying to get all my, I'm just going to paste a link to all my social media platforms so that it's here. Okay.
So guys, you can follow him on the platform. You can also go and register on Sycamore. Yeah, there are some people who have borrowed money for 6 years. They're still paying with their mind. Some people have borrowed money for 2 weeks, 3 months. Those people that say, I'm currently here. Quickly send me money, I will pay it back. Please go and borrow them from Sycamore. So on the day, you will not be saying, bros, I beg, how far this my account number? Can you see my account number? It will debit them straight up.
Yes.
So, please go and register.
Building. Thank you very much for the free plug. I know that's costly. I know that's very expensive time. So we appreciate the. Okay, Jeff has put it. Thank you. So I'm putting all my social media. Yeah, those are all my social media links. I'm quite active. Okay, yeah, she has dropped it already. Thank you, Amaris. I didn't even see that. If you're lending to your friends, you're the one that determine the interest rate though. We don't have a saying that.
I like that picture. I'll put 500 because I don't want to loan you money.
Anyone you want, right? Is I sent, sorry, this was a direct message. I want to send it to everybody too. Okay. So the for the loans from us is 3.5 to 5% a month. That if you're applying from Sycamore, but you'll see the difference on the mobile app. So please, you're free to engage. And we'll take it from there. I know I saw some comments that I wanted to quickly respond to. Okay, who verifies the credit history? I mentioned it's credit bureau. Is it advisable to get a loan for a professional course? If you can afford it, yeah, why not? As long as your debt to income ratio can cover it, such that you're not paying more than 1/3 of your monthly income from it, then if the professional course will advance you, not just one random course that you just feel like you want to do because it is good. Do the 3 credit bureaus work together? Not really, they are competitors. But yeah, you said you engage me more, so I guess I'll read to hear from you. So I think that's all. Sorry, Jeff, we've shot beyond the time.
Yeah. So guys, you can take most the offers on the platform. They also offer investments. You're looking for low risk investment. Also, you can go on Sycamore. I know you don't need to have so much money, right?
No, you don't. You don't need to.
Yeah, so you can go on Sycamore and also make investment decisions also. So guys, thank you so much, for coming here today. This is Abode, and what we are majorly about is creating prosperity for Africans. And as we offer opportunities, we also offer, education. So today is about Sycamore. So I'll not say it's not about, Abode. I know most of us are in the community. If you are in the community, please engage in the WhatsApp group. If you are not on the WhatsApp group, I don't know, maybe you can just send a message. I know Olamide will drop a phone number on the chat room. You can also chat up the number. I'm also going to drop my own number too. You can also chat me up to add you to the community WhatsApp group. We share insights, we do trivia games, and once in a month we have conversations like this. So just one information I want to share with everybody for the Abode community. You guys saw the product we launched. And what we said was that it's going to, before the price is going to increase, the price is going to increase tomorrow from 100K to 120K, then interest rate also drops. So we'll had a conversation, myself and Damilare, and we've made a decision based on requests for a lot of people to extend that offer for the next 2 weeks. So from 1st of May to 14th of May, you are going to still have the opportunity to take up each unit of the executive rental vehicle for 100,000 naira instead of 120,000 naira. But from May 15th, the price goes straight to 120,000 naira. So that's the only announcement I want to make. I want to say thank you so much, Uncle Tunde, for this amazing time and raising the occasion in our small gathering. We have this event every single month, and we always have one physical event every single year to aggregate the entire knowledge that we share. So thank you so much. If you have any opportunity for the community, feel free to share with us, because we are all excited about growing and seeing how we can grow our finances and also grow our knowledge. So please feel free to share. And guys, please follow him at AKIN-MOSES on AKIN-MOSES1 on Instagram, and the links are here. AKIN-MOSES1. Follow him on Instagram. You're going to learn a lot. All right, we have spent 2 minutes past our normal closing time. Thank you for waiting so far. My name remains Jeffrey, and this is Abode World Community. Thank you so much, everyone, and bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for having me.